My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love and Sassy Seer Sheila, as this will be seen on both channels. This is the grand stage, the second term, the silence of justice, and the awakening of the sovereign by Jason Gray. Quote, the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. George Orwell. What happens when the hero you trusted wins, but the enemies remain untouched? What happens when the second term arrives, but the promised storm never comes? What if the storm was never meant to come at all? These are the questions we must begin asking ourselves, not from a place of bitterness, but from total and complete clarity. Not from political vengeance, but from spiritual discernment. I'm going to stop right here and say, I understand this on a level that I'd really rather not have to. I want to say for my own self, however, it's still pretty early on, and I'd like to keep an open mind as to what is going to happen, but we'll continue on here. If we fail to ask them now, in 2025, just 5 years before the world is meant to be, quote, transformed by the machine called Agenda 2030, we may never get another chance. Yes, Trump won his second term. He did what few thought possible. He survived the media crucifixion, the lies, the smears, the indictments, and the rigging. He has returned to the White House not as a hopeful outsider, but as a battle-hardened insider, ready, supposedly, to finish what he started. And yet, where is the justice? Where is the reckoning? He told us he'd where is the storm? He told us he'd, quote, drain the swamp, that he would, quote, lock her up, that he would destroy the deep state, dismantle the globalist order, and expose the crimes that live in the shadows of the elite. He told us the Epstein files would be released, that names, powerful names, would be revealed, and the children, forgotten and voiceless, would finally be vindicated. Now, with full power and nothing to lose, we must ask the following questions. Where are the files? Where are the names? Where is the justice? So far, it looks like nothing has changed. Or rather, the faces have changed, the rhetoric has sharpened, the base has rallied, and the machine still runs. It runs deeper than we were told. Trump is a brilliant showman. He understands energy, optics, timing. He knows how to hold a crowd in the palm of his hand. But what is the role of the showman in a system like this? Is he the liberator? Or is he the final illusion, the last act of the theater before the trap door slams shut? You see, there is something they never told you about politics. It is not about power. It is about belief. It is about controlling your focus. It is all about our focus and attention, both out there and in here, which is why I always say, whatever tools you need to develop your own focus and attention, to hone your own focus and attention, use that tool. Sharpen that discernment. So it is about controlling your focus. It is about managing your hope. It is about giving you just enough drama, just enough resistance, just enough symbols so that you never realize the war was never between parties. It was always between the machine and your mind. Well, that's true enough right there, I believe. Ask yourself the following questions. Why do both sides of the aisle vote for endless wars? Why do both sides protect the rich, the connected, the compromised? Why are we still playing this game when no one ever seems to win except them? It is because the left and right are two wings of the same dragon. The real power is not Democrat or Republican. It is globalist versus sovereign. It is technocrat versus spirit. It is machine versus human. Every 4 years, the machine lets us pretend we are free by choosing which color of boot we want on our neck. This time, something is different. This time, the countdown is real. Agenda 2030. It is not a conspiracy. It is a very well documented plan, openly discussed at the World Economic Forum, signed on to by nearly every nation on earth. It is not a theory. It is a blueprint, a timeline, a ticking clock. By 2030, they say you will own nothing and you will be happy. You will eat no meat because climate. You will have no privacy because safety. You will live in smart cities monitored by AI. You will earn credits, not dollars. You will be reprogrammed into compliance. And here we are, June 2025. This was written June 5th, actually. 4.5 years left. 4.5 years to either wake up or become data in a prison made of code, currency, and compliance. The Georgia Guidestones tried to warn us. Strange granite monoliths erected in 1980, engraved in 8 languages with 10 commandments for a post-apocalyptic age. The first of which, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. That is a 95% reduction in the global population. They stood for 42 years. Then they were mysteriously destroyed in 2022, a symbolic turning point. Isn't that interesting? Their fall did not stop the plan. It may have accelerated it. So ask yourself these questions. Why are birth rates plummeting globally? Why are food supplies, seed genetics, and water rights being consolidated? Why are surveillance technologies being normalized under, quote, safety? Why are children being confused, divided, sexualized, and sedated? We are not in the beginning of the storm. We are in its eye. The real war has always been spiritual. Government did not originate as protection. It originated as domination. From the early days of Mesopotamia and Egypt, kings ruled by declaring themselves gods. They created systems of worship, taxation, slavery, and war. They invented, quote, divine right. They told the people, you are not capable of ruling yourselves. You need us. We believed it. We still believe it. Even now, in our so-called democracy, we are trained to vote for our next ruler instead of recognizing that we should not be ruled at all. I've said that myself. Everybody all freaks out about anarchy, but anarchy does not mean what a lot of people think it means. Anarchy means that you rule yourself, self-governing. Why are we then ask yourself these questions. Why are we the only species that needs permission to exist? Why? Why do we need licenses to catch fish, to build homes, to heal ourselves? Why do we let men in suits tell us what reality is? Because they fear your sovereignty. They fear your ability to think, to question, to create, to connect, to remember. We are not just citizens. We are beings of light and clay, infinite in capacity, divine in origin. We carry within us the seed of God consciousness, the very thing the machine was built to suppress. If Trump is the real deal, if he has played the long game and is about to expose the whole rotten structure, then may this second term be the fire that burns it all down. But if not, then let it be our final wake-up call, because no man will save you. Not Trump, not Kennedy, not Musk, only you. Only your courage to think, to speak, to unplug from the theater, to remember who you are. This world will not be saved by ballots or billionaires. It will be saved by sovereign souls who stop looking outward for answers and start becoming the answer. Oh, I could not agree more, Jason. Oh my God. The curtain has fallen. The lights are on. The script is burning. Now it is your turn to choose. Will you keep playing your part in a play that was written to keep you asleep? Will you finally step off the stage and reclaim the story that was always yours to tell? Then there is Elon Musk, the so-called rebel technocrat who was, until late, surgically attached to President Trump at the hip, both in public posturing and strategic alignment. The same Elon who was once proudly listed as a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, handpicked by the very organization pushing Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset. Read that paragraph again. So I shall. The same Elon who was once proudly listed as a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, handpicked by the very organization pushing Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset, which is the World Economic Forum. Elon later claimed to renounce all ties to the World Economic Forum, painting himself as an outsider, a rogue genius standing against globalism. Actions speak louder than tweets. Shortly after, he appointed Linda Yaccarino, a high-ranking World Economic Forum executive, as CEO of X, formerly Twitter, the very platform he called the digital town square for free speech. If you have severed all connections with an organization actively working to reshape humanity, why install their elite into the control room of your most powerful tool? Why hand the steering wheel to the very system you claim to resist? We must ask if Elon is compromised. Is Trump? These aren't conspiracy questions. These are the questions of a people that finally learning to see through the performance. The answers to these questions are long overdue. And they are. They really are. Well, that's it for this one. I hope this was helpful. I see the thread now. I think I know I'm getting a clearer picture as to why I was nudged to record these particular ones today, based on some of what I've been seeing coming out over the weekend. It feels like very similar to all of that. So love to know what you happen to think and feel about all of this. Please do subscribe, share as you feel to share. Make sure to give it a thumbs up because that does put it in more algorithms, apparently. Until we meet again, be well, my friends.